idea for the show.
I still don't know what the idea is.
It's about nothing.
Right.
Everybody's doing something. We'll do nothing.
They say, what's your show about? I say nothing.
There you go.
I think you may have something here.
Cross Coast Spice presents the League About Nothing podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We have our Week 9 recap and the recap of the NFL trade deadline, along with apparently a trade deadline in our league that passed 2 weeks ago because we had no trades this week. No, we don't actually have a trade deadline in this league, but it appears as though we've hit a bit of a wall. We had a bit of a lull there, and hopefully at some point we get over that wall and get back to trading, because I'm disappointed that we don't have any trades to discuss.
It's fine. I'm sure we have plenty of waivers to talk about.
We do have one, so let's get to that. There was one significant waiver bid. It was on Michael Wilson. Mr. Good News won that bidding at $31. There were several other active bids. Georgia Mike at 26, Al, you bid 18, JMC 14, Mel 6, Judd and I bid 5. So there was a lot of action, not a ton of huge bids though.
Yeah, it was a little surprising to see a player of his caliber on the wire. Well, I say his caliber, but I don't think he's finished the season higher than like wide receiver 70.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's had a little bit of hype, not a lot of production, unfortunately.
Right. Well,
Then,
wide receiver 70 is a potential starter though. When we have 12 teams,
It's
and you're
useful depth.
guaranteed to start 3, that's 36. We have 4 flex spots. If half of those flex spots end up as wide receivers, we're starting 70.
Yeah, it's useful depth in this league. So not surprising that he got a lot of attention on the wire.
Yeah, and he's relatively young as well.
Right. And now he's freed from the albatross that is Kyler Murray. So
Okay, you're just
I mean,
gonna.
we
We're 30 seconds in, and you've already started to get on Big's nerves.
I mean, he did catch
Well done. That might be a
50
record.
Did catch a 50-yard pass on the first play of that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he had 10 points this week, so a solid performance, especially on Mr. Good News' team where he lacks a lot of depth and he's trying to build towards the future. That's a player you could, keep around. And again, it's not going to be a top end piece, but it's somebody that could potentially be a starter for him going into next season.
Right. Yeah,
Or
10 points. 10 points gets in a lot of lineups every week.
Yeah, very, very much so. Or you could just try and turn around and sell him for whatever you can get right now, which is probably something.
Yeah, he's going to get that Jacoby Brissett bump.
When Big comes after you, I'm not helping. That was really the only waiver wire claim that's worth discussing. There was some other bids, but most of those players are already back on the waiver wire, so I don't think we need to get into any of them. This might be the fastest we've gotten to the matchups. I'm wildly disappointed in myself and everyone else.
Well, the faster we get through these matchups, the better.
Just because you're at the end this week.
This is not a fun week to discuss.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is great. I think this is the best week we've had to discuss. Let's tell everyone why. The highest scoring team in the league this week was my team.
Oh, shocking.
I played against Flea. I had a 298.2. I was the highest scoring team. Flea was our 6th highest scoring team. She put up a 206.94. Pretty good week for my team.
Yeah, one of the all-time scores.
Yeah, so this puts me in, I believe, at the 6th highest score. I had everything pulled up a second ago, and I closed it to get back to the matchups. Yes, this will be the 6th highest scoring week, just ahead of Flea's score from last year's finals, where she had a 298.01. And I didn't think anything of this until Mel pointed it out in chat that someone should go take a screenshot of the weekly high scores before they change. He was talking about you because you're currently 10 on the list, and once it updates, you'll be bumped off the list.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm not worried about it.
No. So that's the first high score we've had added to the weekly or the top 10 this season. We had a bunch added last year, including those two in the finals. Let's take a look at this matchup. Right, the reason I scored so many points is fairly obvious. Brock Bowers put up 54.3.
That's pretty good. Welcome back, Brock Bowers.
Yeah, right. Uh, he's been missing from the lineup for a couple weeks. He got hurt in week 1 and then played injured for a bit, but this is a heck of a way to announce that he's back.
Finally healthy, reminding us all why he was the tight end one in Dynasty coming into the season.
Yeah, 12 catches, 127 yards, and 3 touchdowns, including one in overtime.
Yeah, well, he had that one right at the end of the game and then another one in overtime. So
Right.
he did a lot of heavy lifting in the last 30 seconds and then the fifth quarter.
What did you think about that decision by Pete Carroll to go for 2 instead of go for the tie and see what happened after that?
I mean, there was no time left, right? At that point, there was how much? 30 seconds left in
I was going to say
overtime.
not enough time for them to get the ball back again.
Right.
So it's either you're playing for the tie and trying to hold them out of field goal range, or you're going for the win right there. I thought it was a good decision.
Yeah, it was the decision that I would have made, even though the result wasn't what they
Right.
wanted. I think it usually pays to be aggressive rather
Yeah, I
than
mean, you
play for
just
the
marched
tie.
right down the field twice in a row, the last 2 possessions, and
Right.
scored on both of them.
Yeah. I mean,
And the play call honestly wasn't a bad one either. They had Tyler Lockett wide open in the end zone. The ball just got batted by the D lineman.
yeah, it was just a good play, good individual play.
So you watch the replay, it's kind of, I don't know who to put more blame on, the offensive lineman not staying engaged on the block, or Gino, who really had enough time to realize that he couldn't make that throw because the guy who batted the ball jumped, came down, and his hand was still in the air, and then Gino threw it. Like, you had enough time to reconsider this decision.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been the best year for Gino so far.
It has not, unfortunately. Okay, other players over 30 points in this matchup. Flea had 1 and I had 1. Joe Flacco put up a 33.2 and Sam Darnold put up a 31.2. Some pretty impressive quarterback games there.
Joe Flacco,
Joe Flacco was insane.
470 yards and 4 touchdowns. Unbelievable.
The crazy part of this is because of the way our league scoring works, we've discussed this a bit. Quarterbacks are penalized fairly heavily for negative plays. Joe Flacco had 2 interceptions, negative yards rushing, a fumble lost, and took 3 sacks, and still put up 33 points.
Right. Well, that's part of the Joe Flacco experience.
Yeah.
He's going to throw a lot of passes and a lot of yards and touchdowns, but he's also going to turn the ball over at a pretty high clip. That's just what he does.
It certainly makes for entertaining football. I mean, 47-42 final. You don't get more points than that.
Right. He generally has a hard time leading his team to wins, but fantasy points, no problem.
Did you see the stat that they put up on, I think it was the Sunday night broadcast when they were talking about that game, that the Bengals are the first team to score 80 points over a 2-week span and lose both games?
Right. Yeah. It's
Awesome.
difficult to do.
Incredibly. And on the other side of the matchup, Sam Darnold, 4 touchdowns in the first half.
Yeah, he's been
Or
unbelievable.
he had 4 in the game. Do you have 3 in the first half?
They scored seemingly every drive. It was
Yeah, he couldn't make a bad throw that game.
he's been doing this pretty much all year. He's building an MVP candidacy right now. It's been incredible work for Sam Darnold. I guess he wasn't just a product of the Kevin O'Connell cocoon.
Well, apparently not, because he looks great and that offense looks pretty good. And now they're getting some reinforcements in the form of Raheed Shaheed.
Yeah, we can talk about some of the trade deadline stuff since he's on your team. We're talking about your matchup.
I was going to say we may as well mix it in now because Shaheed's on my roster and Darnold's on Flea's, and it's going to help. Presumably, it's going to help Darnold. I don't know if this is much impact for Shaheed himself, but
You're probably looking at more efficiency and a better offense with a much better quarterback,
yes,
but on lower volume because, well, there's a lot more legitimate target earners in Seattle than there are in New Orleans.
Yeah, he's behind JSN instead of Olave now, which
JSN sitting at like a 50% target share.
also suddenly I own 85% of the likely targets of the Seattle offense.
Right, with Barner as well.
Yeah. I
So
didn't
you're
expect
hoping for Darnold's
right.
MVP season to continue, I'm sure.
Keep it going, Sam. And this is definitely good for Flea because Darnold, like you said, was already putting together a very strong season, but having extra proven targets is definitely going to be a help to him.
Yeah, because he's a very good deep threat, but that's not all he is. I mean, he's a legitimate wide receiver too on a good offense.
Yeah, he
And
is.
that's probably what he's going to be here. We'll see about where he fits in the pecking order with Cooper Kupp and Torrey Horton. I'm assuming those two guys are going to kind of be pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, you assume everyone else he slots in as the number two, and everyone else kind of drops a spot.
Yeah,
I,
talent wise, that seems to be where he fits in.
my guess is that in some wide receiver set, single wide receiver sets, once he's healthy, you'll still see Cooper Kupp just because he's a better blocker than any of the rest of them.
Yeah,
But I don't, they're not passing out of those 99% of the time, anyways.
right.
Okay, other players in this matchup over 20 points. Matthew Stafford had a 29.84, barely missed that 30-point margin for Flea. On her team, she also had Devontae Adams at a 25.75, Alec Pierce with 21, and Romeo Dobbs with a 20. Good games from Stafford and Adams, that stack paying dividends for Flea. However, on the other side of the matchup, Puka Nakua basically kept pace with both of them. He had a 25.3 as well.
Right.
So another passing game that's clicking. And Stafford, again, putting together an MVP like season.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to a couple of months ago, there was real concerns whether Stafford would even play this year. They
Right.
had that like cryo chamber in the trailer out in front of the practice field, and
Well, they were talking about taking things day by day and as they come
right.
and things. It was not great messaging. And then the season starts and Stafford's like, oh, yeah, no problem.
Right.
That is 75% completions, 300 yards and 4 touchdowns every week sound.
Yeah, he's been very good this year.
So this is a solid week for Flea. Unfortunately for her, she doesn't get the matchup when she just gets the median win.
Yeah, unfortunate because she had to play against your team.
All right. So speaking of my team, I had a few other players over 20 points. Justin Herbert just shy of 28. JSN just shy of 27. Puka we mentioned at 25. Pop Douglas 22. Rashee Rice almost 22. Genti almost 22. A lot of good scores in there.
Yeah, up and down the lineup, it's almost all 20 plus point scores. That's what happens when you score almost 300 points on the week. Yeah, could
My
have a lot
lowest
of good scores.
Yeah, my lowest score was Raheem Shaheed with a 14.55. So that's pretty good. The real problem in this matchup was for Flea was her tight ends. She had Brock Wright 3.35 and Luke Farrell 3.15. This has just been every week for her, the same issue.
Yeah, we're a broken record at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
their best two tight ends combined for 2 catches for 20 yards. So it's been a
And she
problem.
and she still made it over the median.
Right. She continues to be a very competitive team. She would have beat most teams this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, that tight end spot has really just kind of dragged down her team all year, dragged down her ceiling. So we'll see if she's got any moves up her sleeve to try to address it. It's not the easiest thing in this league to find spare tight ends lying around.
Yeah, it's not. But she also essentially has no floor right now. So any tight end with a pulse is essentially an improvement.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
and
it
even just
won't take
improving from 3 to 9 points a week.
right. Won't take
is-
much to upgrade the tight end
Yeah.
spot.
We've seen her make moves, so we'll see what she gets up to. All right, so we had some injuries in this one as well. Pretty much all of them on my team, which isn't great for me. Samaje Perine left the game with an ankle injury. I haven't seen an update on that one, but he had been looking pretty good the last couple of weeks. I'm a little disappointed in that.
Yeah, they're calling it a high ankle sprain, so probably
Well,
looking at a multi-week injury.
yeah,
Unfortunately, they do have a bye this week, but it's no guarantee that he comes back
yeah.
immediately after the bye.
High ankle's almost always 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's just the wrong amount of time to go on IR.
Yeah,
Luke,
plus the bye week mixed in, so I don't think he's going to miss 5 weeks. So there probably no point
right,
using the IR.
probably not. Luke McCaffrey left in the first quarter. Yeah, was it a
I think it
broken
was
collarbone?
I think it was the opening kickoff, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very early. I don't know if it was the opening, but it was very early in the game. I think
Yeah, broke his collarbone on the kick return.
yeah, he's already on IR. He'll miss some time. Might be the season. I don't know. They haven't really specified yet.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, collarbone's usually at best an 8 week injury,
Yeah,
and that would pretty much put him to the end of the season,
yeah. That
unless
that
they're in the playoffs, which pretty low odds right now.
yeah. Not to step on some other injury notes, but it doesn't seem like that team's got much of a future this year.
Right. For the team, I mean, last year they had the best injury luck in the league. Everyone was healthy for the whole season. They had the least amount of time guys spent on injured reserve, and it's overcorrection this year.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, unfortunately. Well, and also they're one of the older. No, they're not one of the older. They are the oldest team in the league. They have guys who are unfortunately old like us and more likely to get hurt.
More likely to get hurt and take longer to get recovered.
Right.
Speaking from personal experience.
Couple other injuries. Darius Slayton left at the end of the Giants game after taking a big hit. I don't see anything listed on his page. I couldn't find exactly what the issue was, but he left and didn't return for the very end of the game. Worth keeping an eye on, I guess, if you got him in other leagues.
Yeah, it could have been just kind of game script at that point. There's no point of putting him back out there if he's not 100%. But yeah, I haven't seen any real injury being discussed yet. So guess we'll stay tuned to practice reports.
Right. The real big one was Puka Nakua got hurt in the third quarter on a rush.
Yeah.
He hurt his ribs. They haven't really said that they've said that it's not serious. They said McVay said that if it was necessary, he probably could have come back in. Hopefully it's nothing major and he can be back next week.
Yeah, it was a play where he took a little jet sweep and he kind of like landed on the ball.
Yeah.
So you have to worry about maybe sternum, ribs. Hopefully it's just bruising and he's all right. But
Yeah.
another guy will have to wait for the practice reports. As long as it's not any kind of fracture, he should be fine.
Okay, just one thing I want to mention before we move on to our next matchup is I'm pretty sure this is the first week this year that Jonathan Taylor has not been in Flea's lineup. The entire Colts offense just couldn't hold on to the ball. They had 6 turnovers.
Yeah, it
And
was not a great week for
yeah.
for your guy Indiana.
There it is. How'd it feel? How'd it feel using the nickname?
Feels terrible. I don't like that at all.
So
Yeah, they couldn't do anything. They were down pretty much the whole game,
yeah,
and
they were down 2
pretty
scores pretty much
immediately.
the whole game.
And so not a lot of game script to allow them to try to establish Jonathan Taylor. And he's not exactly a big weapon in the passing game. So yeah, it kind of got game scripted out this week, unfortunately.
Right. Our second highest scoring team this week was Georgia Mike. Georgia Mike put up a 264.60, and he played against Judd, who was our 12th highest scoring team, and put up a 67.87. Pretty wide margin of victory for Georgia Mike this week.
Almost 200 points.
Almost 200. Players in this game over 40 points. Georgia Mike had 2 of them. He had Drake London with a 43.55 on the strength of 9 catches, 118 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Caleb Williams with a 41.7 on 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, 53 rushing yards, and another touchdown. Just
2 receptions for 22 yards and a
That's right.
touchdown.
Oh my goodness.
Ben Johnson going deep into the bag of tricks this week, and they needed every bit of it because this game was
Yeah.
incredible. We talked about Joe Flacco. Caleb was the other side of that matchup.
Yeah, they were
47
points
to 42.
all over the place.
As long as your name isn't Roma Dunze.
What happened there?
I said,
What's going on with
how,
that?
how do they score 47 points and Dunze put up a goose egg?
He only had two targets or three, two or three. I saw two and then I saw three today. I don't know if they corrected one or something, but regardless, not a single catch.
He definitely didn't make Georgia Mike's lineup this week.
No. It was a decent day from some of the other pass catchers, but not the kind of day that you would expect the guy who's been operating all year as the number one target to get nothing.
Yeah, it was a weird game.
Yeah.
Weird
But,
game for him.
Hey, I'm guessing Georgia Mike doesn't mind because he still put up 264 and got a 41-point day out of Caleb, even if he got nothing out of Rome.
Right. Well, he still had the Bears stack that worked with Kyle Monangai
That's true.
going for
Monangai with a 25-point day.
176 yards.
Right. That's a lot. That running game has looked very good, whether it's been Monangai or even Swift the last couple of weeks.
Since the bye week, really.
Yeah. So a solid performance there. A couple other guys for Georgia Mike over that 20-point margin. Michael Pittman, almost 26 points. Chase Brown, 22 points. And Trevor Lawrence at 21.
Yeah, Chase Brown with 14 targets. This
I
is
didn't notice that. Oh my God, that's a lot of targets.
This is what Chase Brown was doing last year, where
right?
he was getting all of the work. And this year they've kind of put P. Ryan in there on passing downs. And so Chase Brown hasn't been getting these kind of targets. But coming into this game, I mean, if you go through his game log here, where's his targets? Yeah. 3, 4, 2, 3, 3, 3. This was a welcomed addition to his repertoire this week because they haven't been able to run the ball very well. He only had 37 yards rushing. But if you're going to give him 14 targets, that's Christian McCaffrey numbers for a running back.
He turned it into a decent number of yards, 75 yards on 8 catches. Somehow, how do you have 6 targets as a running back that you don't catch? I wonder if half of those were like blown up plays and they threw it at the running back's feet or something. I haven't watched that game yet.
Those get credited as targets, even though they're throwing them to your feet.
How many of those 14 were catchable? Or how many of those 6, I guess, because obviously 8 of them were.
Yeah.
No, but it's nice to see. Chase Brown, like you said, he was getting all the work last year. Coming into this year, he was going in redraft leagues as a top 12 back, like back end of it, but still, an RB1. These are the kind of days you would expect from an RB1 as opposed to what he had been doing earlier in the season.
Yep.
For Judd's team, really not a lot to discuss here. He's stripped away a lot of his productive players, and some of the ones that he has left, like Jordan Love, had bad days. He got a 20-point day or 22-point day out of Amon-Ra St. Brown. Outside of that, only one other player in double digits. Judd, you're welcome for Flournoy.
Caught a touchdown.
Yeah.
He's in the lineup.
Right. 2 catches, 12 yards, and a touchdown. That'll do it.
Yeah, anybody that scores a touchdown in his roster is getting in the lineup that week.
Yeah. 0 from his tight end 2 of Drew Sample this week was Mel's selection.
Yeah, not a lot to choose from there at the tight end spot for him.
No, and disappointing games from a few other guys like DK Metcalf and Kamani Vidal, who have had good weeks recently, but didn't really do much this week.
Yeah.
All right. Anything you want to talk about on Georgia Mike's team? Because he did put up a lot of points here. He only had one player in single digits. It was his tight end 2 of Mayer, who had a 9.35. Everybody else in the teens and up.
Yeah, and interestingly, Michael Mayer was far more involved in this game than we've seen him previously. 7 targets is a lot for your second tight end on your team.
Right. Well, when your
playing,
leading tight end has 14, there's, you got targets to go to somebody else, I guess.
They were playing 2 tight end lineups pretty much the entire game.
Right.
I think this is their base offense now. So we saw the passing game kind of filter through Bowers, Janty, and Mayer. This is probably going to be the case going forward because they just traded away Jacoby Myers.
Mayer's had a good year, and part of that's because he was obviously the main guy when Bowers was out injured. But even in the games that they've both been there, he's been okay. Like week 1, he had 12 points. They were both playing well then.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're going to see him probably be a useful tight end starter, at least in this league for sure,
Right.
on the
Yeah.
back half of the year, just based on the way they want to run their offense.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Georgia Mike needs. So if they're going to play him that much and he's going to be out there and get the work, then it's a good thing for Georgia Mike's team.
Yeah, that's huge for him because outside of Pitts, he's kind of been doing what Flea has been doing and
Yeah.
rotating in a bunch of backup tight ends. Whoever catches a handful of passes that week gets in the lineup.
Flavor of the week.
Right. So it'd be nice if you could have some kind of stabilizing presence like that.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our next matchup. Our third highest scoring team was Mel. Mel put up a 246.86, and he was up against Rug, who put up a 188.38. So Mel gets both wins. Rug finishes with our seventh highest score of the week. Mel was the third. I don't know if I said that, but Rug was our seventh. So unfortunately for him, he goes 0-2 this week.
Yeah, it was a tough week.
Players over 20 points in this one. Let's start with Rug's team. He had Marvin Harrison Jr. with a 26.85 and Torrey Horton with a 22.3. And one other, Josh Jacobs at a 21.25. So 3 guys over that 20-point margin. However, he only had one player in single digits, which was DeMarcado at a 9.8. So Rugg doesn't have a lot of big scores, but they're all decent scores, which would be why he got close to this median.
Yeah, unfortunately, just bad matchup luck. If he had played a handful of other teams, he could have gotten at least salvaged a head-to-head win, but
Right.
wasn't really close in this matchup.
And it wasn't close because, as we said, Mel had our third highest score. Let's take a quick look at players on Mel's side over 20 points. Mel had 3 players above 28 points. Geno Smith with a 29.76, Josh Allen with a 28.82, and Rico Dowdle with a 29.85. So 2 of these guys were within a quarter of a point of getting to that 30-point mark. Also over 20 points were DJ Moore with a 27, Jamar Chase with a 22, and Parker Washington with a 21 exactly.
Yeah, just far more ceiling on Mel's side this week.
Yeah. And we've seen weeks where Mel's score here, 246.86, would be the number one score of the week. This is he had a couple guys over him this week, but this is still a very good week.
Yep. A little shocking to see Jamar Chase with only 8 targets. after after having 700 targets in the last 3 weeks.
We talked about he would be on the pace for 300 targets with Flacco. Apparently, everyone kind of realized that wasn't sustainable and said maybe we should throw to T. Higgins every now and again.
The Bears did everything they could to take away Jamar Chase. He still had 6 for 111, and the Bears did everything. I swear I saw him get triple teamed at some point.
I have no doubt that they did because he's that good. He won the Triple Crown last year. The man's a machine. But if you give him all that attention, there are good enough pieces elsewhere on the roster to move the ball. Just 21 points is still a good week, even when you're getting only 6 catches.
Yeah, that's just how good Jamar Chase is.
Yeah.
But I mean, how good is Rico Dowdle?
Apparently way better than any of us thought. I was clearly the highest on Dowdle this whole time. I didn't expect anything like this.
Yeah, he is
going off this year.
I mean, he took over this backfield. They gave a big contract extension to Chuba, and he was the starter until he got hurt, and then Rico Dowdle Wally pipped him. He was so good that they basically forced the Panthers' hand, and he's rewarded them handsomely.
Yeah, he's been that good. Sometimes it happens where a guy just is playing so well that it doesn't matter that he's not getting the money. That it doesn't matter who's in front of him. You just have to give him the touches, and that is just where we're at right now with Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, it's just been an incredible journey for this guy who was, undrafted and bounced on and off the Cowboys active roster and practice squad, and he missed a year on IR when he got hurt early in the preseason, and then he kind of became the running top running back by default last year for the Cowboys. Had
Yep.
a 1,000 yard season, and they did made no attempt to bring him back, even though they didn't have any other running backs. I
I,
mean, Javante's been great for them,
yeah, it worked out for him, but also I feel like it didn't have to be this complicated for them.
right. He signed a barely above minimum deal to be the Panthers backup, and
Right.
he's just taken over this backfield by storm. It's been a journey for old Rico Dowdle.
Yeah. I'm looking up his contract right now.
Yeah, it was just
It's
it was a 1 year deal
one
for like
year,
two and a
2.75
half.
yeah, 2.75 million.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
how do you not match that?
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, the Panthers didn't bring him in with intentions of him being this.
No.
So they gave Chuba the money because they thought he was going to be this. But yeah, it's an interesting storyline that's developed these last couple of weeks.
And Javante, 1 year, 3 million. It's essentially the same
Right.
contract.
Exactly. That's what I mean. They paid Javante the same to just replace him.
They should have just kept him and signed Javante. $6 million for your running back room is fine.
Yeah.
For your top two running back. I mean, like that's any team in the league would be thrilled with the way those two are playing at $6 million. We mentioned Caleb's monster day and the fact that Rome Odunze didn't do anything. So that means DJ Moore with what do you have? One completion for a touchdown to Caleb and 4 catches, 72 yards.
And he
And
ran for a touchdown.
I was going to say, and 1 carry for 17 yards and a touchdown. So no receiving touchdowns, but hey, you get the points for the other ones anyways.
Yeah, he for the first time this year, he looked like the alpha in Chicago for
Yeah.
1 week at least.
It's interesting. I'm sure Mel notices this because he sets all the lineups, and I don't know if anyone else does, but if you notice every week, the way that the scoring works, any position player, their score is either going to end in 0.0 or 0.05. And the quarterback scores will end in any number randomly because of just the way things work. Whenever a position player makes a pass, it adds in an extra number that doesn't end in a 5 or a 0. So this week, DJ Moore, 26.98. So when I'm making my notes and I see something like that, it always sticks out like a sore thumb. And you know immediately, oh, they threw a pass. Let's go watch that. And I mean, obviously, I'd already seen the DJ Moore one, but just an interesting quirk of the league scoring.
I think that might only be interesting to you and
Probably.
possibly Criddle.
We'll see. We'll see. Someone and someone will back me up in chat on this. You're probably right. It's probably going to be Criddle, but just saying.
Look at those fancy decimals.
I feel this camaraderie with Mel because I'm the only person in the league who I am 100% sure looks at every single player's score every single week because I'm making my notes for this section right here. I know you're not checking out every single player in every single matchup, and I doubt most people are because why would you bother going to look? Who was the fourth flex spot for Mr. Good News this week? Like, it doesn't matter. Unless you're playing against Mr. Good News, you don't care. Or you are Mr. Good News.
Right. You should definitely check your own rosters and make sure they're set correctly.
Right.
But outside of that, most teams are not digging through at the level that we are.
Yeah.
And I'm not digging through at the level that you are. So
Yeah. All right. Before we move on, we have, I want to just point out all 4 tight ends in this matchup between 12 and 17 points. Very solid tight end scores across the board there. All right. But before we move on to our next matchup, we unfortunately have a few injuries to discuss, and there are some doozies in this one. For Ruggs team, Jaden Daniels. I texted you when that one happened saying that he broke his arm. Apparently it's a dislocated elbow instead, but man, was that not cool.
that was one of the more painful injuries to watch this year. I know we just talked about Cam Scadabos recently, but yeah, this one was just jarring to watch.
And it wasn't this one and the Tyreek Hill one, they didn't seem like crazy plays in the moment either. It wasn't, guys getting picked up and slammed. It was kind of he got slung down and, went to brace himself and it just didn't work the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, football is a violent game. Somehow escaped any fractures, which feels
Incredible.
impossible if you've
Like I said,
watched
I immediately
replay.
texted you broken arm.
But that doesn't mean he escaped ligament damage. We're still
Oh,
waiting on the word from
I was going
there,
to say,
but
I heard earlier today they don't think he suffered ligament. And obviously, it's not an official
that would be
announcement, but
incredible if true.
right? I
Because I
How does
was
your arm do
assuming,
that if the ligaments are not broken?
having dislocated my elbow before, I can tell you that the ulna is usually snapped when that happens. It's very difficult for it to not snap when you're dislocating it. So we'll see.
Right.
See what they say.
Also injured for Ruggs' team was Brian Thomas Jr., who hurt his ankle, left the game, did not return. They've said it's a low grade ankle sprain.
Yeah, they called it a low grade high ankle sprain
Oh, they said high ankle. I didn't
for
hear that
for
part.
more confusion. They're
Right.
saying there's a chance he plays this week, which I
Uh,
guess if it's a very low grade, it's possible, but it feels like he's been playing hurt all year. Something
I,
is something is not right there in Jacksonville with Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not
yeah,
sure what it is, if he's
it's
fighting through injuries or if it's mental or if it's Trevor Lawrence or the offense or whatever it is, but it just doesn't look like the same player that we saw last year.
no, it's not been the best year for him. And the rest of that wide receiver room also appears to be injured now. Or not now, but, you know, we're already missing Hunter.
Yeah, we had Hunter go down in the middle of the week. We didn't talk about him because it wasn't a game day injury, but he
Oh,
got
we
hurt
haven't had that.
at
Yeah.
practice and got placed on IR. That was a weird injury that they're saying it wasn't a torn ACL and there's no
Yeah.
ligament damage, but they put him on IR real quick and before they seemingly knew exactly what was going on. So we'll see what's going on with that one. But he's definitely out for at least the next 4 weeks. And
Yeah.
now Thomas is either going to play with a sprained ankle or he's going to be out for a little bit. And we have more wide receiver injuries from them to get to when we get to some of these other matchups.
Yep. I think that's all for Ruggs' team, but unfortunately, Mel suffered a couple of losses as well. The big one being Tucker Craft. And this one really sucks because he was having a great year and breaking out in a pretty big way.
Oh, yeah. After the huge week he had last week.
Right. So ACL for Kraft, they basically said it right after the game, confirmed it the next day. I hate injuries.
Yeah, I mean, that one really sucks. He was he was on his way to a very good season. He
Yeah.
finally had broken out into that upper echelon of tight ends, and
Yep.
he had one of the best tight end games, outside of Brock Bowers, obviously. But last week, for like normal human tight ends,
Right.
it was a great week. And yeah, just to have his season cut short like this, he basically emerged as the wide receiver one for Green Bay.
Yeah. Everyone had been discussing, is it going to be Dobbs? Is it going to be Golden? Is it going to be Reed? Where are the targets going to go? And apparently it was just Kraft all along.
Yeah, so that one hurts, and obviously you can't place a guy like that in this league because there are no tight
Yeah. You,
ends.
you can't go to the waiver wire and get the
You
next guy up.
you can't get 5 points from tight end off the wire. Never mind a guy that's an elite tight end
5 points
one.
would be great. Half the teams in our league would
You
take that
can't
right
get
now.
1 point off the waiver wire for tight ends. So
Oh,
yeah, that's
yeah,
gonna test Mel's depth in tight end position.
and it is. And he does have depth there, but having depth there and losing your top guy, it's still going to be a very difficult rest of season for him at the position.
Yep.
One other injury of note in this one, Aaron Jones with an AC joint injury. Is it just me or is AC joint the injury of the week here? Because you remember like a couple years ago when Russ had the hammer finger and then like three other people had like the same injury.
Right.
And it seems like some injuries come in bunches and it's always just the most bizarre injury.
Yeah, and he was having a good game before he went down. Made it into Mel's lineup this week.
Yeah.
9 carries for 78 yards and 20 yards on a couple of catches. So the Vikings are going to feel this loss as well as Mel.
Right.
And we've seen what can happen because his teammate, Jordan Mason, had the AC sprain last year. He tried to play through it and ended up re-injuring it and missing even more time. So
Yeah.
we'll see how patient they are with him.
They've said that it's minor and that there's a chance he doesn't miss time. I I don't know if I buy the second part of that. Hopefully they're right that it's minor, but I don't. You got to give him at least a little bit of time.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's very easy to re-injure, especially at running back when you're slamming your shoulders into
Right.
people. It's hard to kind of protect that shoulder.
All right. So hopefully those injuries don't derail any seasons here, but there's some big names there that'll be tough to replace for these two teams. Our next highest scoring team this week was Big's team. Big put up a 217.24, and Big went up against JMC, who put up a 214.26. Big was our fourth highest scoring team. JMC was our fifth highest scoring team. I was playing around in the Dynasty Daddy tools section, and I noticed that it had a list of the closest matchups, closest margin of victories in matchups this season. And this one is the fourth closest margin of victory we've had this year. We've had two that finished within a point, the closest one being week 3, where Big beat your team, Al, by 0.86 points. This one was a margin of 2.98.
Yeah, I remember that one fondly. So that's twice that Big has gotten wins in with
You're
less than
just
3 points of
squeaking them out.
separation.
I mean, they were both over the median score this week, which, by the way, is the first time that JMC has been over the median score this season.
Yeah, it
So,
was a ceiling week for JMC. This was everybody hitting on the best case scenario basically this week. So it was fun to see. Didn't result in a win, unfortunately, because of
yeah,
some rough matchup luck. But he would have beaten, at least half the league this
7 other
week.
teams, right?
Right. More than half. So yeah, it was a fun week for him. Got to see a lot of what he's been building towards,
Yeah.
acquiring these young players. Got to see a few of them kind of have big weeks this week. So that was nice.
Yeah. And 3 players over 30 points in this one. For Big, we had Christian McCaffrey, 36.3. And as you mentioned on JMC side, a couple of ceiling games. Colston Loveland, big breakout performance, 35.3, including that game-winning 58-yard touchdown. And T. Higgins with a 36.85 because you can't throw to Jamar Chase every time.
Yeah, a couple of huge performances from Loveland. We finally last week we got to see him for the first time without Komet at all, and then
Yep.
this week Komet was back briefly.
Briefly.
But it was still mostly Loveland, and I have to assume after this week, we're not going to see much of Komet going forward. I think the torch may have been officially passed after this.
Yeah. Well, when you score a 58-yard touchdown, I think it earns you a few more snaps.
Yeah, he gives them a element that Komet cannot, as far as
Yeah.
game-breaking plays like that.
Right. And Komet's a solid player, but he's not that.
Yeah, Komet's an above average tight end for sure. He'd start for a lot of teams, but he's not Colson Loveland. There's a reason this guy was taken in the top 10.
Okay, other players over 20 points. Only one for JMC, but it was Jackson Dart with a 29. So almost over that 30-point line himself. JMC had a bunch of other players in the teens, but no other 20-point performances. On the other side of the matchup, Big had Sam, as he always puts it, the door with a 27.7. Trey McBride, 21.5, and Jacoby Brissett to replace Kyler Murray with a 23-point game.
New Cardinals starting quarterback, Jacoby Brissett.
As Adam Schefter put it in his tweet earlier today, a soft benching.
Soft benching.
It's something. I don't know
why
if it's
you
that, but it's
always
something.
this is why you always handcuff your quarterbacks, people. Always.
Stop.
I always say that. You got to handcuff your quarterbacks because when you got a chance to turn the franchise over to a veteran journeyman backup quarterback and bench your highly paid 7-year starter, this
Right.
is just what you do. This is what winning organizations do.
I said it before. Jacoby Brissett is a 4A starter. He's too good to be a backup, but he's not good enough to be a starter.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
He's a 4A player.
I would We'd like to see how this plays out. My guess is that at some point, Brissett will be who he is, and the offense will struggle, and the team
Yeah.
will lose, and then they'll go back to Kyler.
Well, he's started I think 3 games and he's 1-2. It's not like he's going out there and blowing
Right.
teams away here. And he beat the
Yeah.
Cowboys, the I don't know, second worst defense in the league. This isn't impressive.
Oh, don't worry. They just traded for Logan Wilson
Trust me, I am not worried
to
about the Cowboys.
improve the defense by taking him from Cincinnati, who is the worst defense in the league. That's where you want to target your new defensive replacements.
You know the phrase "the rich get richer." This is an instance of the poor getting poorer. Both of these teams are worse now.
This guy was benched by the worst defense in the league. Let's go get him.
Yeah. Did you see the stat on Brissett that after last night's game, he now has the lowest interception rate in NFL history? He passed Rodgers.
Yeah, he's always been very good at limiting
Yeah,
turnovers.
he takes a lot of sacks. It's the three-legged stool of quarterbacks. If you don't throw the ball away, you're gonna take sacks. And that's what he does.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I am suspect that this is going to work out well for everybody involved,
No,
but
it's not.
we'll see.
It's the question is really whether Kyler is actually injured or not. It almost doesn't matter why they're doing this, but it's information that I would really like to have.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get that.
No,
But
we're
I
not.
think if
Not until
Brissett,
the year's over and somebody gets fired or traded or whatever.
I think if Brissett starts to struggle and revert back to the rest of his career performance, then I think that Kyler will get healthy very quickly. But
Right.
we'll see.
We talked about in the last matchup Mel's team where he had Tucker Kraft get injured. An interesting thing to note here is that Luke Musgrave, who is the presumed, new starter now, is on Mel's team, or not on Mel's team, excuse me, is on Big's team, and he only put up 9.65 points this week, but you would imagine that he'll probably get a little bit more work going forward, and this could be a nice pickup for Big here.
Yeah, potentially a nice boost. I know that he's always been a Musgrave believer since he was
Yeah,
drafted. I mean,
right.
he was drafted in the same draft as Kraft, and he was drafted earlier, and he was the starter to begin his career, and then he kind of got banged up, and Kraft came in and kind of took that job by
Yeah, never
force.
gave it back.
So, now it's Musgrave's turn to potentially turn the tables here on Kraft. He'll get his audition for the rest of the year.
And maybe even the start of next year, because we're late enough in the season that you don't know how long the timeline will be for Kraft coming back.
Yep. We had a trade that impacted JMC's roster with AD Mitchell being involved in that crazy Sauce Gardner trade that happened earlier.
Right, 2 first-round picks for Gardner. That's big boy trading right there.
Yeah, he is. He's been not the best cornerback in the league in the last couple of years. He's still very good, but he's
Yeah,
been closer to league average than to the cornerback one overall that he
right.
was being viewed as his first couple of years in the league. So it's a hefty price to pay. But
And he's
to pry guys like this away when you feel like you're in your window and corner was a clear and obvious need for the Colts.
yeah.
To get a guy like this, that's the price you got to pay. But for fantasy, the interesting thing was that AD Mitchell got thrown in. We knew the Colts were never going to play him again. They were
Yeah, he
done
was
with him.
pretty far down the depth chart.
They were ready to move on. And so he couldn't have landed in a better spot. Besides the fact that the Jets don't have a quarterback, I mean, there's no
I was
target.
gonna say that this is a passing offense that finished multiple games netting negative yards this season. I'm pretty sure there are many better landing spots.
I mean, if you're looking at depth chart competition,
Right.
there's few there's few more direct lines to the starting lineup for
Yeah.
Mitchell to land in. I mean, they've been trying out a different wide receiver too all year. They've rotated about 6 different guys, and none
Yeah,
of
the
them
answer has
good.
been none of them.
Right? That's shockingly. They've had
It's
several cast offs from other teams in that role. So
Yeah, good for Mitchell. A fresh start is probably the best thing for him.
Yeah, he's flash talent.
Yeah, he's had some plays, and I think last year his advanced statistics were pretty good. I've never been a huge Mitchell fan, but I know that we have a few in the league. And were you a Mitchell guy?
He's a guy that scores pretty well in a lot of advanced stats, but small sample size
Right.
caveat here because he's never been able to be a big target earner. But he did get a lot of hype in the off season. He was one of the training camp and preseason stars for the Colts and looked like
Yeah.
maybe he was going to kind of push his way into a role. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of overlapping skills with guys like Pierce, who has been really good this year
Yeah.
when he's healthy. In the one game that Pierce missed with concussion, we got to see Mitchell in that
Uh,
role. And he looked great, minus the fumble right before scoring would have been a scoring a touchdown.
I still feel bad for him about that one because like he didn't. It wasn't the Deshaun Jackson throw it behind you before you cross the line. It was
Yeah,
he was just trying to hold the ball up and it just slipped out. Obviously, you have to not do that, but it wasn't as egregious as some of the other instances of that.
we've seen it happen too many times,
It's true.
and yeah, it's tough to get buried after something like that. So good for him. He gets to get a fresh start with a team that could definitely use some receiving help.
I don't know if fresh start's the right way to talk about it, but sort of a fresh start for Travion Henderson with no Ramondre in the lineup this week. JMC gets 14 points out of Henderson, which is, I'm pretty sure, his highest of the season.
Yeah, it was easily his highest snap share, even though
Yeah.
he didn't get a huge lead in touches for undrafted free agent Terrell Jennings mixed in a lot of high leverage spots, including the goal line.
Right.
That's not exactly what you want to see if
No,
you're a Henderson rosterer, but it was nice that he got a lot of work and did something with it and didn't embarrass himself at least.
yeah. Well, he also might not have gotten all the carries, but he basically was the only one running routes for the running backs. I think he had
Yeah.
like 26 of 30 or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and if he can have a stranglehold on the passing down work, that'll
Yeah,
go a long way towards making him a useful weekly fantasy starter.
exactly. All right. One injury to note in this one. T. Higgins had that 37-point day, but he got hurt at the very end of the game, the last 90 seconds or so. He took a pretty big hit, came out of the game. They said today or yesterday, I'm not sure when, that he cleared concussion protocol. So I guess that was why he didn't go back in. But they said he cleared it. So maybe he could have gone back in had the game not been over, but he didn't. So, it's worth keeping an eye on, but it doesn't sound like it's anything that's going to cause him to miss time.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the practice reports look like. Right now, we're not concerned, but we'll see.
Our next highest scoring team was Al's team. Al, you were the eighth highest scoring team this week.
Pretty late in the
Yep.
show to
Not
finally be
used to
getting to
seeing
my
you
team.
quite this far down the list. This is the first time this season that you have failed to break the median score. You put
Yeah,
up
I
a
wasn't particularly close.
no, no. You were about 30 points off on this one. You put up a 167.81, and you were up against Flinch, who was our ninth highest scoring team, and put up a 153.78. So unfortunately for you guys, you both missed the median. I doubt Flinch cares, but it's a little more important to you. No 30-point players on either side of this matchup. A couple of 20-point players on Flinch's side. He had Lamar with a 28, almost 29 points. Bo Nix with a 21, and Dalton Kincaid with a 28. A few big days there.
Yeah, the quarterbacks you expected from Kincaid
Right.
finally starting to flash that upside. And the reason he went in the first round, and
Yeah.
he should be the Bills' main pass catcher based on the receiving core that they have assembled here. So it's nice to see that kind of pay off. It's
Third year
tough because
breakout for tight ends, baby.
he plays so few snaps compared to the other elite tight end options
Right.
that it's hard to really get a lot of compiling done. But yeah, when he becomes a focal point when he's out there like this week, it definitely pays off.
Yeah, and had the touchdown as well. So good to see him get the end zone usage.
Then we can talk about my sad team where I had one player over 20, and it was Olamides Zacchaeus. He was my best player this week. That's why I wasn't over the median.
Right, just shy of 21 points for Zacchaeus.
Oh,
Again, somebody had to do it if Rome wasn't going to.
you're right.
He scored a touchdown, only 58 yards, but every little bit helps.
Yeah, it was not a great week.
You play the matchups in front of you, and you got one win this week, so it's not a total disaster.
Could have been worse.
It could have been worse. And you had other players who were close to that 20-point margin. Justin Jefferson had 19 points. Jared Goff was just under 19. It's not like you're rolling out a bunch of scrubs there. You only had one player in single digits. I'm sorry, I lied. Two players in single digits because apparently Jahmyr Gibbs decided not to show up this week either.
Yeah, I could have used him this week, but it's fine because my running back one this week had 2 carries for 8 yards. Thanks, Ty Johnson. That's running back one production right there.
10.5. Whatever works, I guess.
It's 8 rushing yards. I had 33 rushing yards combined by my 2 running backs this week. It was not a good week for me. Not a good week.
What I'm curious about is how James Cook is still in like the top 5 scorers at running back when you've got Josh Allen stealing goal line work. You've got Ty Johnson stealing goal line work. You've got Ty Johnson stealing all the catches. It's just that whole offense just operates in strange ways.
Yeah, well, they won a big game this week against the Chiefs.
That's true, they did.
So,
but
can't knock it if
they were
it's
like
working.
4-0 against the Chiefs in the regular season the last 4 years or something. It doesn't matter until they beat them in the playoffs. It doesn't matter.
That's fair.
I mean, it does, but it really doesn't. So a little bit of a disappointing week for your team. You were texting me on Sunday night about your tight end position and saying that there was a chance you were going to take a 0 in your tight end 2 spot. And about, I don't know, 2 minutes later, Elijah Arroyo scored a touchdown.
Yeah, I needed that. He was my tight end 1.
Yep,
I had
12.4.
I think I had 6 tight ends on bye this week, so it was kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. And Evan Ingram gave me a goose egg, so that was lovely. I'm playing the team with all of the Broncos. The only one I have is Evan Ingram, and he does nothing. That could have worked out better for Flinch.
Yeah, pretty much. He dodged that bullet, but unfortunately, again, I don't think Flinch was really on the edge of his seat about this matchup. My guess is he's kind of written this season off.
Yeah.
But you mentioned your tight ends on bye. You had Njoku and Fannin on bye because Cleveland was out. You also had Dallas Goedert, and you also had Cade Otton. That's a lot of service. Like, that's a good tight end room by itself that you had on bye this week.
Yeah. So we were struggling for tight end production, but we got it done.
Yeah. And don't forget you had.
And I needed it because if I had a 0, this matchup would have been even closer.
Don't forget you had John Mechie on bye too.
Yeah. Well, how could I forget?
Shocked, by the way, that he's still on your lineup on your roster.
Paid Fab to pick him back up. I was like,
now
he went to the Jets. They have no receivers.
Now you can drop him again because they have Mitchell.
Right. Now we get to see Mechie and Mitchell fight for scraps.
Speaking of tight ends, we had a Greg Dulcich appearance for Flinch's roster. 14 points, 5 catches, 49 yards. Where did that come from?
Incredible. He's been tight end 4 for the Dolphins this year.
Yeah.
But they've had a couple of injuries ahead of him. Waller, we know, is on IR. Hill got hurt a couple weeks ago. He hasn't played. So they're struggling for offensive production.
Is this the first relevant fantasy game he's had since his rookie year?
It might be. It's the first time he's caught a pass or even had a target this season.
It absolutely is, because last year he had 11.55 points total. And the year before he had 8.75. This is his first fantasy relevant game in 3 years.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, Greg Dulcich. Miami is so bad that he's probably the second best receiving threat on the team right now.
Right. Maybe they'll keep him in the lineup now.
Non-running backs category.
Okay. couple, or actually, I think just one injury to discuss in this one. You actually mentioned it earlier. Cole Kmet was coming back from injury, and then he got hurt again. He got a concussion in this game.
Yeah, copy paste. We say every week about concussions.
Yep. That's the only injury to discuss, but we have a real life NFL trade to discuss on your roster. Jacoby Myers got traded from, I almost said Oakland. It's been a while. Las Vegas to the Jaguars. We talked about Jacksonville earlier, dealing with a lot of injuries at the receiver position. They decided to go out and pick up Myers. Myers has been asking to be traded for months. It's been
Since
speculated
the
that he was going to
offseason.
be traded for a few weeks. Here we are.
Wanted
It's actually finally happened. Our long
wanted
national
a
nightmare is over.
he wanted a contract extension. The Raiders were like, "Nah, we're good. We've got Jack Besh and and Deontay Thornton.
And
Like
Tyler Lockett.
Tyler. Well, now they have Tyler Lockett. At
Right.
that point in the offseason, they had drafted a couple rookies. Didn't know, new coach, new staff. They weren't willing to give him the money that he wanted. I mean, he's basically making Tutu Atwell money right now.
Yeah,
So he probably deserves to be paid a little bit more than Tutu Atwell.
a bit.
But
Is this the third year of a 3-year contract that he's on? I think so.
yeah, he had a 3-year, $33 million
Yeah.
contract.
Once you get to the end of contracts, they all want future money. I don't blame the
Right.
guy.
Yep. He was out of guaranteed money
Yeah.
going into free agency. So nice for the Raiders to pick up something for him. I mean, he got a
Yeah.
couple of day three picks, which is probably more than anyone expected.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. There are worse places he could have got traded to, but Jacksonville was not very high on the list of
Yeah.
attractive offenses to end
No.
up in. They've been a little dysfunctional this year. So we'll see. Maybe he can fill a target void that they currently have with Hunter on IR and Thomas banged up. And we're going to talk about Diami Brown in the next matchup.
Yep.
He also went down. That's why we saw Parker Washington score so many points. They're running out of healthy bodies. Strange is still on IR. So we'll see. He's going into a big target vacuum, and we know that Trevor Lawrence likes to kind of feed the slot. So it's possible this could be a good landing spot for him. I'm sure he'll want to be productive considering he's playing for a contract.
Yeah, he's going to want to put good tape out there to end the season. So he'll do his best for them, I'm sure, in a way that he probably wasn't going to do for Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, he was the clear wide receiver one all year in Vegas, and he hasn't done much because Geno's been so terrible. Even with Bowers out, he wasn't really very productive in Vegas. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Maybe a change of scenery can help him.
Okay, let's get to our final matchup. This one was between Criddle and Mr. Good News. And Criddle won this one, going away with a 91.91. He was our 10th highest scoring team. Mr. Good News put up a 70.38. He was our 11th highest scoring team.
What a barn burner.
Boys, this was an ugly one. Let's Al, you are our 8th highest scoring team. You outscored both of these teams combined.
Little bit of a
Not-
drop off there.
Not a good day at the office for these two. And somehow Mr. Good News lost ground on Judd for that 101. Well done, Judd.
The most important race.
Right. Well, I mean, really looking at Judd's roster every week, if he wanted to guarantee the 101, just go trade Amon-Ra for however many firsts someone will pay you. Literally, if he does that, he's almost guaranteed the 101 because that's half his roster points every week.
Well, I know this matchup didn't have a lot to talk about, but my favorite part is that the quarterback one on both teams both play for the Houston Texans. Riddle's quarterback one, CJ Stroud, and Mr. Good News quarterback one was Davis Mills.
Yep. And they combined for, let's look at this, 8.79 points.
Well, we don't need to talk about that, but
yeah. So there were no players in this matchup over 20 points. The closest we came was Dalton Schultz had a 19.7 for Criddle. And on Mr. Good News, the closest we came was even further than that, was a 12.3 from your boy Kolar.
Charlie Kolar got in the end zone on Thursday.
Right. ugly matchup. Not a lot going on here. Even the young guys who, sometimes will say, oh, and such looked pretty good. Nice to see the rookie doing. There's not even any of that. There's really nothing that, a nice game from Dalton Schultz, an okay game from Juwan Johnson.
Well, it was nice to see Criddle be able to sneak out a win, even with the Eagles on bye this week, because that's like half of his roster.
It's
So,
more than half his roster. I mentioned it last week when we were discussing Criddle's team. He averages in like the 170 range every week. His lowest score previous to this was 121, and he had a couple weeks over 180 points. This is not a typical performance from Criddle's team.
yeah, still got the head-to-head win though, which is nice. But
Sure.
yeah, the wasn't a lot he could do this week with the Eagles on bye.
No. And as you mentioned, he had CJ Stroud in as his QB1. Stroud left that game with a concussion.
Yeah, a couple concussions on his
Did you
side.
see that play?
The CJ Stroud one?
Yeah.
The one that he got hurt on, he got hit. He got hit in the chest and slammed the back of his head, right? Was that the play?
Yeah, they initially threw a flag. I'm pretty sure they picked it up after that. I am starting to think that it's a bad idea for quarterbacks to slide feet first. We see them at least a couple times a year. Somebody slides feet first and somebody's coming in full speed to try and make the tackle, and they get a forearm to the head and their head slams back, or they get a shoulder to the chest and their head slams back. And
Yeah, you're kind of, you're giving
you're putting
yourself
yourself
up.
in a tough position.
You're giving yourself up. You're putting yourself in a defenseless position, essentially. That's why the hits get penalized. But that doesn't undo the brain damage that can happen. 15-yard penalty doesn't help if your quarterback's then going to miss a week or two.
I don't know. It's unfortunate when it happens. This one wasn't, in my opinion, was not a dirty hit.
Yeah, it's just
Stroud slid fairly late. He got hit shoulder to chest. It's unfortunate what happened. I don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Yeah, it's hard for the defensive guys too, because then you tell them, okay, well, you can't really teach them to hold up and not go through the end of the play, because then the next time the quarterback rolls out, he might be Jackson Dart and lower his helmet into you and run you over. So, once you become a runner, it's a football play.
Yeah. And last night in the Monday night game, Dak scrambled at one point. He left the slide to a very late part of the play. And I was watching it and thinking, dude, you got to slide. He had already gotten the first down. He was 10 yards past the marker and he went right up until the last second and then slid. And I'm just watching it thinking you got to not do that. Especially once you have, if you're at the line to get the first down, you make your decisions. But once you're past it, brother, get down.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to coach.
It's
on both sides.
Yeah, no, it's impossible for these guys to ignore their instincts as well. I don't. Yeah. It's not an easy thing to overcome for the player any more than it is for the defensive player, for the offensive player.
It's one thing when you're in the pocket. Yeah, it's another thing once you've broken out and become a runner.
We're gonna ignore pretty much all the players in this matchup because they're all single-digit scores.
Not a lot to talk about.
We're gonna talk about a couple of the injuries though. We mentioned Stroud. You mentioned earlier De'Ami Brown also had a concussion.
Also concussion.
Yeah, it's a good thing they traded for Myers because there's no one left there.
I think that was out of necessity
Tim Jones,
at this
who's
point.
on that roster, is hurt too.
Yeah, they're struggling for pass catchers right now. I think Myers might be out there immediately, whether he knows the playbook or not.
Right. And one for Mr. Good News, Matthew Golden did get hurt. It was a shoulder injury. I have not seen any update on that. The blurb says he's considered day-to-day. All right, well, keep an eye on it. They've got so many receivers there, and Golden wasn't really doing a whole lot this year anyways.
Yeah, there wasn't really anything definitive during the game. Didn't really see where he got hurt. So the fact that he wasn't, he didn't return to the game. He got ruled out. They ruled him as questionable to return and eventually ruled him out later. Yeah. So not really sure what's going on. It's another guy that we'll have to kind of wait for the practice report. But it's been a continuation of a disappointing year for Matthew Golden, unfortunately. We've had a couple of games where it looks like he's on the cusp of breaking out,
Yeah, a
and
few plays.
he just hasn't been able to put it all together yet. So we'll see. Maybe the Tucker Kraft injury kind of changes the dynamic of the offense.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. They're eventually going to get Reed back, which is not going to make it easier on him.
No. And they just got Watson back, which I think is more of an overlap for Golden's, skill set and route trees anyways.
Yeah.
All right. We had one injury that we did not cover in the proper section earlier. I'm just going to throw it in here. For Georgia Mike, Kayshon Boutte hurt his hamstring, did not return to the game. I don't know, that game was a close one, so you would have expected that if he was able to return, he would have. Worth keeping an eye on in New England.
Yeah, and he's basically been their field stretching kind of sacrificial X
Yeah, he's been
receiver.
their man beater.
So
the only one who can get separation right now for them.
yeah, it could be a very impactful injury for the Patriots offense.
Yeah.
Was a little surprising to not see them be more aggressive today. They didn't make any trades. Thought maybe they would go after another receiver.
I was going to
But
say
maybe
they were
like
rumored
what
for a lot.
maybe they like what they have with Kyle Williams. They drafted him. Obviously, they thought of him highly. They've been bringing him along very slowly. It's possible that he goes into a bigger role here if Boutte misses some time.
You have to assume that they have a plan in-house because, like you said, they didn't go after anyone. Williams has basically done nothing this year. I think he's got 2 catches or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. If he does do something, I'm sure it'll be nice to see for JMC because he's on his roster. All right, I think that wraps up our matchups.
Mercifully.
Your reaction when we get to this podcast every week is just purely based on how your team has done in the last 48 hours.
That's all that matters to me.
if my excitement for this podcast was the same way, last year would have been very depressing to listen to for everyone.
Well, no, because you were doing that on purpose.
Yeah, I was doing it on purpose, but I was still losing everything. I won like 2 games last year.
I don't have 50 leagues that I'm a part of. This is it. This is the only one that I care about. So I am living and dying every week based on this one team's performance.
Who are you talking about? You're not hanging on our United roster the same way?
Oh, God. I wish that league would fold.
We won this week, dude. 130 points. Oh, my goodness. I don't understand how our team is that good and that bad at the same time. All right. Let's go and check out our Dynasty Daddy percentage chance to make the playoffs. Nothing has changed with our top 4 teams. Nothing has changed with our bottom 5 teams. We are still only discussing our middle 3 teams. This week, leading the pack with a 70% chance to make the playoffs, currently sitting at an 11-7 record, is Georgia Mike. Next is Flea, currently sitting at a 12-6 record with a 67% chance to make the playoffs. And closing up this tight race here is Rug with an 11-7 record and a 64% chance to make the playoffs. These 3 teams are separated by 1 game, and according to Dynasty Daddy, a 6% chance difference. This is incredible.
Not a lot of separation this week.
This is incredible.
Just going to be a tight matchup to the end, it looks like.
Right. So
at least we have some kind of excitement.
Yeah, we've seen Georgia Mike be at the bottom of this list recently. We've seen Rug be at the top of this list recently, and we apparently just flip-flopped. Rug had his first unfortunate 0-2 week here, I think. Or did he? So last week he went 1-1. This is his first 0-2 week.
Yeah, not a lot of separation between these 3 teams.
No.
They all have holes that they need to fill in the roster to kind of solidify that one of those last 2 playoff spots. We'll see if they're able to do that. We didn't see any trades this week, but the further we get into the season, start to see some things shake up, I'm sure.
Yeah. Interesting to note that Georgia Mike has a fairly significant lead, about 150 points in the max points for. And with the fact that these teams are all within one game, that points tiebreaker could be relevant the end of the season. If these two of these teams finish with the same record, the tiebreaker will be going to Georgia Mike currently, but there's still plenty of time for that to change.
Yeah, surprising that there's that big of a gap between the teams.
Yeah, so Georgia Mike has about a 150-point lead. Rugg is next, but the gap between Rugg and Flea is only 20 points. It's about 150 and 170 points, but 20 points is, 1 week. That's going to flip-flop.
Yeah. Yeah, Georgia Mike's team's been coming on lately. He's made up a lot of ground. He's only 30 points behind Big in points scored.
Yeah. I was looking around earlier. We're on Dynasty Daddy for this percentage chance to make the playoffs. I was looking around on the Dynasty Daddy site, and I found that they have a transaction counter, which basically keeps track of how many waiver claims and how many trades each team has made since the league year reset. I don't remember exactly when the league year reset, but obviously it was sometime after the end of last season and before the start of this. I don't remember exactly when everything rolls over. But there was some interesting numbers for there. I told you this earlier. You are the top team in terms of the number of waiver claims so far in this league year.
Shocking.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
This is why you are known for the $0 bid, because you've made 181 waiver claims.
Well, if I made them all for
$100 budget.
If I made them all for $1, I'd be broke twice over by now. So, gotta be conservative with those bids when you're making 200 of them.
That is 181 transactions on the waiver wire. That is a lot of churning on the bottom part of your roster.
Gonna make some more right now as soon as we're done recording. I'm gonna drop some more players.
And the gap here between your team and the number 2 team is massive. Mel, the commish, is our number 2 team in terms of the number of waiver claims processed. Mel has 110, which is a lot. That is a huge gap from 181 down to 110. So Mel at 110. Next is Big at 92 and Mr. Good News at 90.
I want to know who's made the least ad drops.
We will get there. We will get there. After Mr. Good News, next is me at 75, Georgia Mike at 59, JMC 49, Flinch at 40, Rugg at 38, Flea at 27, Judd at 20, and coming in with the fewest waiver claims this league year is Criddle with 13.
Yeah, that's like a slow week for me.
It really is. Part of that 13, however, could be related to the fact that Criddle and I made that trade wherein he traded all his fab away. So any claim from that point on has to be a $0 claim. So
well, that hasn't stopped me from making 180 $0 claims.
It's true. You have not really slowed down. It's worth noting that you still have $97 of your $100 budget available.
Even though I've made 180 moves, I've only spent 3.
So I suppose if Criddle was doing things the way you do, would be no hindrance at all. This is
the benefits of only playing in one league that you care about.
I want everyone to, at the end of the year, I'm going to ask everyone what their best waiver claim this season was and try and see like what was the most productive piece off the way. Like I can think of a couple off the top of my head that are probably high on the list, like Tonjes for Big's roster and Thornton for my roster. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Who's your best waiver claim this year that you can think of off the top of your head?
Take me hours to go through that list. By the end of the year, I might be at 500.
Right. Yes. Did any of them last more than a day is the question. Like, if Mr. Good News holds on to him, is he going to say Michael Wilson is his best? Like maybe. That's a pretty good claim, but
got in his lineup this week.
Right. The other transaction part of this that Dynasty Daddy keeps stats on was trades. And we've talked about this. Our league is a very active trading league. I told you earlier who was top of this list, right?
Yeah, Big.
I shouldn't have told you all this. I should have sprung this on you as a surprise and made you guess all this.
I could have definitely guessed that I was first in waivers and Big was first in trades.
Yeah.
I didn't know how far ahead I was, but I
Yeah.
could have guessed that I was first.
Didn't know
I,
the margin was quite that sizable.
I am approaching 1,000 all-time transactions in the history of the league because you can go back and check
How are you
the
not over 1,000 if
the
you're at
league history.
181 already this year?
Well,
We still have
I
half
mean,
a season to play. Oh my goodness. I guess that counts all of the off season, but still. All right. Our most active trading team is Big's team. Big has made 36 trades this year, or this league year, I should say. Al, you are second on that list with 29 trades this year.
slacking.
Uh, a bit of a gap from 29 down to Mr. Good News at 20, the third highest. And after that, JMC and my team both have 16 trades this year. Mel has 12. Criddle and Rug both at 11. Judd at 10. Flea at 9. Flinch at 4. And Georgia Mike only 2 trades this year. Georgia Mike, let's bump those numbers up.
It's interesting
Hi.
that Criddle has almost as many trades as waiver claims
Yep.
on the season.
That is interesting.
Those are fun numbers, though.
Yeah,
It's fun to look at this point in the year.
Right.
See
Yeah,
where we're trending.
we'll do a recap. I think we'll add this to our end of year recap as well. But I discovered them for the first time today, and I just kind of wanted to share with everyone.
Yeah,
Little
definitely interesting.
little screen grab of where we're at or what this league has done this year.
Yeah, because I know that Sleeper tracks all-time wins and losses and transactions and
Yeah.
league messages for some reason.
Right.
So it's fun to look at the all-time standings now that we've been around for a couple of years.
Oh, the league messages are tracked by year as well. So like you go back to the first
Yep.
year of the league and you can see, how many messages each manager sent in that first season, which was not nearly as many as we send these days.
Yeah, activity definitely picked up year two. We replaced a couple of owners after year one, and I think we've had a pretty good mix here the last couple of years.
That first year, Mel, which makes sense, the first year of a league, the commissioner, Mel had 873. You were second at 835. Last year, our highest message number, as I'm sure you could guess, was from Big with 4,675.
It's been a big jump.
Right. It's fun. It's what makes things enjoyable, though.
Yeah,
Good discussion.
League has grown into, I think, a lot of people that are in this league. This has kind of grown into their favorite league, and they may spend more time here in the league chat than in other spots. There's always a lot of engagement, which is nice.
Yeah. And they have to spend a lot of time in league chat, whether they want to or not, sometimes if they want to keep up.
Yeah, it can be a full-time job sometimes, especially when Big's got a day off.
Or when Criddle wakes up early and I'm still awake. Okay. I think that about covers everything we need to this week. We will catch everybody next time, but until then,
See you in the league chat.
ba-da-ba-ba-da.